Hi everyone, my name is Apurva. I'm currently a third year MBBS student at GMC Ratlam, and in this video, I'll teach you everything you need to know as to how to approach anatomy. So first, in this video, we'll be discussing how to approach anatomy, how to write answers to to fetch good scores, what is the year-long strategy, and what is the exam month, like the last moment strategy that you must follow. So, starting with parts of the syllabus, we have general, we have regional anatomy, in which you have your upper limb, lower limb, head and neck, thorax, abdomen, pelvis. Then we have neuroanatomy, which is usually covered with head and neck or right after head and neck. Then we have embryology and genetics, and at last we have histology. Starting with your general. Now, for general, you'll be following this tiny book, this handbook. It's a small book, so you don't really need to read the entire book. All you need to know is the first few chapters where terminologies, the planes, and the names of all these sections are mentioned. These are not asked in exams, but you will be following this through your entire year with the regional. Like, you need to know what the difference between distal and proximal is, right? Because in your regional books, they'll just tell you distal to that. If you do not know what distal is, or let's say in coronal section, you may see. Now, if you do not know what coronal section is, how are you going to interpret the rest of the sentence, right? So you need to know these bones. Bones in these, usually they ask long answers like parts of a long bone or blood supply of a long bone, epiphysis, all that. So these are usually asked as long answer question in sessionals or your part completion tests, and short answer question in university. Usually they're not seen, but if in case there are, these are short answers. So bones, joint, muscle, and fascia. At least this much you have to cover from your general anatomy handbook. Rest all would be covered in your regional anatomy. Moving on to regional anatomy. So in regional anatomy, you have upper limb, you have lower limb, you have thorax, head and neck, abdomen, and pelvis, right? And the resources that you're going to need for your entire regional anatomy are either you can follow BDC or you can follow Vishram Singh. Now, ATLAS is optional. Then you need to have the importance. Always have the importance of the subject with you. Anatomy is very vast. You cannot follow every single page like you used to follow NCRT, right? Then make your own notes. Like your own notes would always be superior to any pre-made note. Video lectures and animations if you need it. Like if you're really struggling, only then go for these. So I'll teach you how I used to study regional anatomy, and I'll take elbow as an example. I'm not doing brachial plexus because I'm pretty sure there are more than enough videos on that already. So, first of all, do not read every single line of this book as if you were reading NCRT. Your need days are over. You don't need to know every single word, right? So, if I were to read this, see, first of all, features, matlab ye introduction. This is the introduction. Then we have the heading articular surface. Then we have ligaments. Like I'm just going through the headings. I'm not actually reading the things right now. Then we have relations. Then we have blood and nerve supply. Then we have movements. Okay. Then we have the carrying angle. After that, we have the clinical anatomy, which is the most important part. Then we have almost 5 points, which are very important in clinical anatomy, right? So, most important here is that you know your diagrams. Every, matlab, as much as diagrams you can make them. Practice your diagrams, draw your diagrams, make sure your answer sheet has more than enough diagrams. Those fetch good marks. Second thing, you need to know the subheadings under which you will explain the topic, right? So, if elbow joint, these mentioned parts are your subheadings. And lastly, the PYQs, right? Okay, so this I'll go through it and I'll be like, okay, this is a hinge joint. It is a synovial joint. Okay, done. Articular surface, so basically capitulum and trochlea, the of humerus, and head of radius and head of ulna. These all come joined together. Then we have the ligaments, capsular ligament, ulnar collateral, and all that. Now, here is when you will be using the atlas. You can, if you can visualize everything just by reading BDC, that is great. It will help you a lot. But if you cannot, you open your atlas. See, now you can see exactly which ligament is binding where, what is its alignment. Like for example, we just read the articular surfaces. So in this, the articular surfaces are actually visible. There's the trochlea, there's the capitulum, all that, right? This is why you need the atlas. If you're not someone who is very big on the atlas, go for a 3D apps. Now, how do you remember all of this, right? First of all, you visualize. You look at your own body and you imagine some ligament going through there. Okay, this is going through there. How does it function? How does it work? If this is not your thing, go for Atlas. If you can't do Atlas as well, go for 3D models. The only way you will remember everything is if you can close your eyes, touch your body wherever you're studying it, right? And imagine what exactly is there, the structures which are present there. I mean, this is how you would study regional anatomy. You will have to read the book. You will have to practice your diagrams at least twice or thrice minimum. Moving on to neuroanatomy, you can either read it from Vishram Singh or you can read it from Inderbir Singh. I've already mentioned those books in my previous video. Now, how do you study neuroanatomy? First of all, it does not have a lot of weightage. At least in the written exam, it will have a lot of questions, usually for Viva part. Now, this does not have a lot of weightage in written exams, but there is a whole table for it in Viva. So you cannot entirely skip it. But if you're smart enough about what to study and in how much detail, you'll be able to finish this in no time. Moving on to embryology. Now, for embryology, you can follow Sontake, you can follow IVS, you can follow Langman. I've already discussed the books. Follow the important topics. Unless and until you really like the topic, the subject embryology, I would not ask you to read the entire book because it's not really required. Again, it does not have a very high weightage in written exams, but it does have some weightage in Viva, right? So you go through the important topics, for example, pharyngeal arches, development in week 1, 2, and 3, rotation of gut, formation of heart. You go through diagrams of these topics, you go through the flowchart if it is a process, and you read the applied. That's it. That's all you need to do in embryology, just like if you just want to pass. Then we have genetics. Very basic questions usually come from genetics. Otherwise, they don't even ask it. Usually in Viva, maybe. In which again we have the Downs syndrome, we have Turner syndrome, Klinefelter, Prader-Willi. All these things you need to get a list of importance from either your seniors or Bhalani or whatever PDF that your college follows. In this, you'll be asked to write the clinical features, the abnormalities of chromosome. That's it. Moving on to histology. Now, histology has very high weightage in practical, and it is also asked as like part of a short question, or sorry, part of a long question or a short question in itself in the written exams. One or two questions you can expect, right? So you have to focus on diagram. Don't just make random circles and squiggles and hope your professor will understand what you've drawn. Focus on the diagram, focus on the labelings and the identifying features. For example, let's say if this were to be a diagram, it has to be clean, it has to be identifiable what I've drawn. You make the diagram, you label it very clearly, and then you write all the identifying features like the presence of mucosa on this surface, the presence of Pierce patches, structure. You will go through with that. Now, how do you write an answer? Presentation is important. You will be graded on your presentation. So, if you're writing it in a really messy way, you might get less marks than your peer who might not have written as much details as you did. So, presentation, secondly, headings matter. You need to write everything in a like with headings. It does not have to be like a story, paragraphs just flowing. Please don't torture your professor so that they have to read your entire thing. They will not. Then we have diagrams. Draw as many diagrams as you can possibly imagine and or link to the topic. And overall cleanliness, overall flow of the answer. Like you start with introduction, you don't randomly put in nerve supply and then you start with relations. There is a way of following the flow, right? So if for example taking elbow, if this were to be asked as a long answer question, this will take whatever I've written, approx 5 to 7 pages, right? So I'll start with elbow. I'll give an introduction. It's a synovial joint, it's a hinge joint, it's an upper limb. Then I'll write the articulating surfaces. I'll make a simple diagram of just the articulating surfaces being shown with labels. Then I'll write the ligaments, name of the ligament, and what does it do. It prevents which super extension or which hyperextension, right? Then I'll mention a little bit about carrying angle because it's a very small topic. Usually it's asked as a small answer, very short note as well. Then I'll write the relations. Again, I'll draw the diagram. Then we have most important for any joint you're answering, movements. So what are the movement that this joint can do? Sadly, it's a hinge joint. It can only do two. It can extend and it can flex. So you'll write the name of the movement and then you'll tell which muscles or which structures are making it possible. Now, if you can and if you have the time, add a simple line diagram. Then everything applied you remember, just write it down one by one by one. Don't just write tennis elbow is a thing. Except this is how you write it. Now, the year long strategy, try to cover the syllabus with every test that your university takes. Every test, every exam, because backlog in anatomy is very dangerous. You don't want to have backlog in this subject. It's very vast, it has a lot of rote memory elements. So, you need to be able to keep revising it consistently, right? You cannot just read it once and remember it. Follow through the readings with your dissection. So if you know tomorrow there'll be dissection of maybe, let's say, plantar aspect of your foot, read the plantar aspect a day before, so that when they actually open up the foot and show it to you, you can identify or at least have some idea of what the structures present inside might be called. And always refer to the book, make your own notes if you can, please, and make sure you have a lot of diagrams. Examine strategy, first of all, get your importance, of course. uh, for these importance, refer to your senior, refer to your college PDF, refer to Bhalani, whatever you're following. You may refer to short lectures as well, or whoever, like pre-made notes. Always, 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 always practice diagrams for whatever important topics your seniors have already given to you, and review it as many times as possible. And lastly, PYQs are the hidden gems. The pattern it is being repeated in. Is it usually a long question? Is it a very short note? Is it a short note? And focus on these parts. These are your can score a lot. If you're writing answers, this is how you go through it. You have your introduction, you have your heading, subheading, whatever diagram goes with it, whatever flowchart goes with it. You have to always write your clinical, because these fetch marks and those are important. If diagram possible, conclusion, and that is optional. Now, I'll show you my notes.